I graduated from tech and started Cornerstone in 2006. So this is my 18th year in business.
Oh, wow.
I started really small. I was a one-man band. I was the audiologist, the booker, the scheduler, the janitor, the marketing person. I was all the things. And I had a tiny baby named Hayes who is a senior in high school right now. So yeah,
way.
just trying to figure out how to do both and wanted to call my own shots. I worked for an ear, nose, and throat doctor before that, learned a lot there, but really wanted to be able to kind of set my own schedule and do what I wanted to with my kids and call my own shots. And so I jumped right off a cliff and figured it out.
Today on Leading Lubbock, I'm joined by Dr. Julie Hubik, founder of Cornerstone Audiology. Julie is an entrepreneur, leader, and mom who has built her business on faith, family, and genuine care for others. In our conversation, she shares lessons from starting small, leading with core values, and learning to communicate with her team. We talk about hospitality, creativity, and the trials that shape us as leaders. You'll walk away encouraged and inspired by Julie's heart for people and her wisdom for business and life. So let's dive in. Well, welcome back to Leading Lubbock. Today I get to sit down with Julie Hubik. So Julie, I'm very excited to get to talk to you today and get to hear a little bit about your story and get to meet you. This is the first time you and I have sat down together.
It is. I'm really excited to meet you too. And I feel like we know a lot of the same people. So it feels like we've already met, even though we really haven't.
Right.
It's kind of fun. I feel like I've known you.
Yeah. So before we started this, kind of throwing out some names
Right.
of people that you know and I know, and it seems to be everybody who's been on the show.
Right.
So,
Yes, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is great.
So Julie, you are an audiologist.
I am.
And
Yes.
have a business
I do.
called Cornerstone.
Cornerstone Audiology. Right.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your business,
Sure.
how you got started.
Right.
We'd love to just hear some backstory.
Yeah, I graduated from tech and started Cornerstone in 2006. So this is my 18th year in business.
Oh, wow.
I started really small. I was a one-man band. I was the audiologist, the booker, the scheduler, the janitor, the marketing person. I was all the things. And I had a tiny baby named Hayes who is a senior in high school right now. So yeah,
way.
just trying to figure out how to do both and wanted to call my own shots. I worked for an ear, nose, and throat doctor before that, learned a lot there, but really wanted to be able to kind of set my own schedule and do what I wanted to with my kids and call my own shots. And so I jumped right off a cliff and figured it out.
So it was easy,
fun.
right?
Yeah, it was so
There's
easy.
no-
I didn't know
no
anything.
challenges.
I'm glad I didn't know anything because I probably wouldn't have done it if I'd have
Right.
known what all
Yeah.
the challenges would have been. So
I can imagine you learned so much.
learned so much.
In that,
Yeah.
especially the beginning seasons.
It's been a crazy ride.
Wow.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
a new mom and
As a
new
new mom,
business
yeah.
owner. Okay.
For sure.
Wow. So speaking of that, you've got a family. So you mentioned,
do.
you mentioned your son now.
Yes,
So tell us a little bit about the...
I'm married to Jacob. He is at Texas Tech Credit Union, manages the lending department there. And then he also has a business called Hub City Workspace where he has different co-working spaces around town. And then we have two boys. Hayes is a senior at Lubbock Christian and Will is a sophomore at Lubbock Christian.
both at Lubbock Christian.
Both at Lubbock Christian. We're all boy house except me and the dog. We have one female dog, one male dog, Beasley and Halpert, after Jim and Pam from The Office.
Oh, I love it. I
Yeah,
love that.
so
That's-
it's fun. We have a great time. We have a lot of fun as a family, and they're good boys. We follow them everywhere and do all their things. And
Yeah. So
been a
you're
blast.
entering into a new season with the senior.
I
Like, this
am.
is
We
the
don't want to lip
transition.
quiver on the show, but
Okay.
yeah, I will.
Yeah, we'll keep
yeah.
the...
Let's not talk about that.
we won't go there.
No, we don't need to talk about
Wow.
it. But yeah, he's ready. He's ready to, do big things and fly on his own. So that
bet.
makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you said your other one is a sophomore?
My other one's a sophomore. Yeah,
Wow.
they're
So
both
you
involved
are
in
ingrained in the
all the things.
high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, you playing
High school's
sports.
crazy. Yeah, they both are involved in the football team. Neither of them are playing. Hayes has had quite a few concussions, and so he got to pivot into a coaching role, which has been a huge blessing.
Okay.
And then my sophomore is a manager, so
Okay.
they both play basketball. And
That's
so,
fun.
yeah, it is really fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, a lot going on,
going
in the Hubik household.
There is, yes.
I love it. All right. Well, I'm excited to talk leadership with you.
Yeah.
Seems like you probably have some lessons learned and
Oh, yeah.
some things that have happened. I love diving into people's stories and just
Sure.
hearing like how did you become the Julie you are today?
Yeah.
And so I'd love to hear your take on what effective leadership looks like to you, and then has it evolved over time, and how has that evolved?
Just talking, when I first started that I didn't have any employees. Now we have 14. And, you learn a lot in leading people. I didn't really sign up to lead people. You just needed people. And so I don't know that I've ever really had a lot of leadership training. You just kind of wake up and all of a sudden you're in that role and you have to kind of figure it out. But effective leadership, I think, looks like your team trusting you, just earning that trust with them. Just learning to care for them as humans and put them in the right roles to get the outcomes that you're looking for in your business, but to really see them as humans and really love on them and care for them and, help them to be the best person that they can be, that kind of thing. And when you have that genuine care for each other, it's amazing what you can accomplish, because they know that you have their back, and they know, when COVID hits and no one gets laid off at Cornerstone, we just figure out how to do bare bones and hustle and work together and those kinds of things. You just really have to have some sacrificial moments in there, but when you care for them well, they will do anything for you. So I have a great team. They're awesome. That's
incredible. So I didn't even think about you leading through the COVID season.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you were,
my favorite moments of COVID, I'll give some shout outs. James Arnold was my banker. He was at ABC Bank at the time. And we were the first people in the United States to get the PPP money. And we were in the Wall Street Journal.
Were you really?
Yeah. It was so funny.
You
James and I were balling.
Right
we were balling together. Yeah. So those local banks really did a good job of helping their people. And a lot of people who had more of a larger relationship with a larger institution, they struggled getting their money. So we got our money quick. We set up a karaoke machine, and this is kind of embarrassing because I'm kind of a redneck business owner. Audiologist.
I'm so curious what that means.
Yeah. So we couldn't have patients come inside. We didn't want them to come so we set up a karaoke machine in our vestibule, and we would test their hearing and program their hearing aids while talking to them through the microphone in the karaoke machine. Yeah, it was super fun. We did curbside fittings.
Creative.
Yeah, we all pivots. We had to pivot, and it was and a lot of my team that are with me now were there then, and so we still talk about those days, and we had a lot of fun. We did a lot of cool things. So
I don't know you well at all.
Yeah.
Like, just getting to know your personality through the first few minutes of this recording.
Sure.
And you seem like a fun individual. Like,
thanks.
You just
it's one of our core values.
Is it?
We have a good sense of humor at Cornerstone.
Okay. So as I'm hearing you, and you're kind of talking through karaoke machines, and you're talking about like different techniques to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
What do those conversations behind the scenes look like when you're meeting with your team? And like, what are we going to do? Are you guys still laughing and joking in a time period?
I was crying behind the scenes when no one was looking.
Okay. So when you're in your own room.
Yeah.
Right.
I had some real meltdown moments in that time period because I felt so responsible for them, you know.
But you still had a way and the means to make it a little bit more lighthearted. To have a little bit more interaction around it. Yeah,
we have a good time. We have a lot of sense of humor. You have to be spunky and have fun to work at the office. And there's times where I get wound up and have to come back to earth because I'm pretty high strung. But we have a lot of laughs.
Okay, so you mentioned that's one of your core values. What are some of the other core values?
Diligence. We work hard. Genuine. We have to have like a genuine care for people. That's probably my favorite one, and one of my big personal core values is just the genuineness of, just being real. Yeah. And then genuine, diligence, fun, and generous. And we want to be generous with what we have. So.
Okay. Yeah, those are great. Do you talk about those often with your team?
We do. We talk about them often. I would say the biggest hole in my leadership game, you haven't asked me that yet, but I'm going to go ahead and just confess it so we can talk through it.
Let's rip off the Band-Aid.
Is communication. Like one of the lessons I'm learning right now is I go hard. I'm like super intense. Leanne knows all my strengths and competition, achiever, focus. Like I'm just like in the zone. But what happens to me is I'm like driving an ATV over the sand dunes and I look up and nobody's in the back. because I forgot to tell them where I was going.
Okay.
You know, so
I don't know if they fell off along the way,
or they
if
just got out for a second and I left them at the convenience store. I don't know, but so yes, we talk about them often, but I've noticed over just recently, I realized maybe a year ago that some of my team didn't even know what our core values were.
Okay.
You know, and I had to be like, oh, we had new people come along and we forgot to tell them who we are. You know, so just trying to maintain, and my team's trying to kind of hold me accountable for the communication part, because didn't I tell y'all that? They're like, no,
yeah.
you forgot.
Yeah,
so,
we should learn that together, because I
communication
feel like
isn't
that
my
happens in my
favorite.
marriage.
Yeah, we do that a lot.
I told you that, right?
Yes, ships in the night, you know?
Yeah, okay, so what are things that you're doing and thinking about daily that help you to, I guess, are reminding you to be more communicative, to hone in that skill a little bit more?
I'm trying to get better about our staff meeting agendas and really doing those ahead of time and being really prepared for staff meeting and what I want to accomplish and what the outcomes are that I want to see at the end of that meeting, and making sure that, you know, that I've said what I need to say, and that we, you know, everyone signed what they need to sign. Everyone's going the same direction. So I think it's an organizational thing for me. Really.
Do you have other people in seats around you that are high in communication that help fill those gaps? Question.
Yeah, I mean, a year and a half ago, I started an executive team within Cornerstone.
Okay.
So we have, there's 3 other people in leadership within the team, and I think that they are much better communicators than I am. So I think that, you know, that's a good strategy to put people in place around you that have different gifts than you do, for sure.
Well, it's such a strength to even know where you sit in some of these things, in the holes in your leadership.
Oh, yeah.
That one, you even have the humility to identify
genuine,
that.
You know, when your core value is genuine, you gotta be open. Yep. You want everybody else to be open, then you have to be open with yours. So
that's good. And then whenever you are able to identify that, then one, you're able to communicate your lack of communication skills.
Yes.
But that people realize that, and maybe there's even less hurt feelings, or less like, what is it about me that I was left behind, of like, hey, there's some tendencies here that we have, and when we're genuine about who we are and the shortcomings that we have, we're real.
And I think all you can do when you figure those things out or make a mistake is, you know, patch that hole in your boat and keep going. So I think if everyone's genuine about, hey, I missed that, but I'll fix it, and let's, you know, kind of move on as a team.
Yeah. I love analogies. I'm always good for a good analogy. So I love that, even just the hole in your boat, because it doesn't have to be a massive hole, right? It can be a small leak.
Yeah, pinholes.
And if we don't know where that thing is coming from, it's like we're sinking and we don't know why. Right. Everybody's scrambling to try to find it, and maybe it's just that small little crack that was the communication piece that, hey, at least now we identified it, and we can go look for those things and start patching those small leaks that turn into bigger problems later.
Exactly.
So good.
It is
okay.
Good. Yep.
All right. So you mentioned at the very beginning that you haven't done a lot of training around leadership.
Right.
And maybe more, what I took from that is like, so the needs around you, the urgency that took place. I think that's probably most of our journeys, like anybody in leadership, and even if it's not leadership in a CEO role or a business owner role, but it's more with our families and, you know, more around the circles that we're in. A lot of times it is this trial by fire.
It is.
And we're learning as we go, because it's the needs around us. I'd love to hear your take on that. Like, how effective do you feel like that was for you to learn and grow through that, versus if you had the opportunity to go through like
I mean
training?
I don't have a business degree. You know, I have a doctorate in audiology and an undergrad in communication disorders. There's not a lot of business training, leadership training, and then you get out and you start your own practice and you have no idea what you're doing. But you know, another one I keep giving Leanne shout outs, but another one of my strengths is learner, and I love to learn.
Okay.
And then that, with my competition, you know, strength helps me to use what I learned to go kill it at something. You know, it's not just I want to sit by a tree and read a book. It's I want to dominate with whatever I learned from that thing, you know? And so I've read a lot, been around just some really cool people that I just love to be around, other strong people who are passionate about what they're doing, just because I pick up so many cool things from other leaders. So that's been, I don't know if that answered your question.
It did. It actually brought a different perspective too, because when you say like you haven't had leadership training, in terms of like actually like
Yeah,
a schooling
formal training
type thing.
Right.
You are pursuing people and pursuing books and pursuing just resources that are training you to
Sure.
do the thing. Right. So,
Right.
I love that aspect of leaders are readers. Like I've heard that before. You've kind of reframed it for me a little bit that I'm like, leaders are learners. Right.
It's true.
And so
Yeah.
it's like those that really have a desire to take what they've learned and implement it and just
Right.
keep doing that rather than just reading a book under a tree. I mean, there's so much to that. And
Application is huge.
yeah. But the fact that you're not just settling into like, this is where I'm at, this is where we are, and let's just keep this lane. It's no, here's an opportunity to learn something more, and I'm going to get pressed by a Leanne, and I'm going to get pressed by this book or Kathy Crockett. You know, we talked about a few people who've been on the show too. So I just love that you're putting yourself in those situations.
Yeah, it's fun.
To learn.
That's what I enjoy the most is, trying something new, experimenting with something that you learn from someone else. It's fuel kind of for what we do.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So how about pivotal moments in your life or career that have kind of shaped who you are? Maybe some lessons learned in the past.
Yeah. A lot of them, are pretty personal.
Yeah.
Which you don't really want to go into on a podcast, but
definitely don't have to do that.
No, it's okay. But, I think that, that I think the Lord protects you from things in business is when you're seeking him, that could have been a total nightmare, and in those moments you can feel really stretched and pulled and disappointed that it didn't go the way that you were thinking it was going to go, but that it's just, you can look back years later and be like, man, that is such a blessing, and so I think there have been some things like that have just been super pivotal in trusting, who God is and how he's blessed, just the business that I have and just kept us from all kinds of things. We've had lots of scary moments, at the very beginning, little things like cash flow. You've got to have cash to operate and to pay your people. And, at the very beginning, I can remember just being freaked out. I mean, you have inventory can wreck you, your payroll can wreck you. We keep hearing aids in stock, so I'll have a cabinet full of inventory that we're fitting on our patients. And then you got payroll coming up and you've got these, there's just a lot of snowball things that you see other industries, you see on the news, people that have those things, and then they're robbing Peter to pay Paul and they're behind bars,
Yep. Things that can get you in big trouble.
it can spiral. So just there's been some low moments where at the very beginning where you have to be smart about your cash flow and keeping your overhead low enough that you don't get yourself into trouble. And, you just kind of figure it out as you go. But those have been some really big moments where I have learned how to protect myself against a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And, to continue to trust people, even when you've been burned by some people, that you have to not put calluses up and be wise, not make the same mistakes twice, but also just continue to prioritize people, even when some people hurt you.
Yeah. Which is so hard.
So hard.
You mentioned earlier, you said something about people versus, what I wrote down was people versus production. It's not necessarily just output focused.
Right.
But it's very people oriented is good leadership. And when you do that, your production is very black and white. It's data driven. It's output based.
Right.
But when you're people centric, which most good leaders are, what I'm finding is being on this side of the table.
Right.
It's vulnerable.
It's
scary.
It is
you
scary.
can get hurt.
Yeah.
So,
but we were talking about Leaders Eat Last. I mean, that's the theme of that book, and our executive team just read that, and prioritizing people over, numbers and goals. But you have to have those numbers and goals to make your business work.
Yeah.
But you can't put that in front of patients or team, really, So we talk about core values a lot, in our practice and our policies. We have these certain policies, but a policy should be followed every time until it violates a core value. And I think that's a protective means of putting the people first. Yeah. Because, we're gonna say no to I don't even know, an example of a patient that has a need. Well, our policy says that you have to pay for that service. Yeah, but he's 94 and he drove here, and we're going to let that one slide, you know, because we just need him. You know what I mean? I mean, you just have to know when you can bend. And if it's going to violate a core value, then hopefully you can train your team to know when it's okay to do that, you know?
That's really good. I love that.
But that's a people thing over a money thing, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's just like the tree with its roots.
Yeah.
I feel like when it's hit with resistance or like differences and that it's bending,
right?
But your roots, your foundations are so strong that it's not going to break the tree or make the tree fall over, right?
That's good.
Your core values, I feel like, are your roots that are holding you guys steady. That like, yeah, we can bend, we're not going to break because we're abiding by the things that we like set in the ground first. So I love that. And even the repetition of you guys talking about it over and over again ingrains it in the people that maybe they don't have to go ask you for permission on certain things where it's like, I got to make a call right now. And I know the basis that I'm making the call on.
Right.
Because you've helped ingrain that. So
yeah, it goes back to that trust too, trusting your people.
Yeah. And the way that you communicate the core values, I feel like can have such a big impact on life. Like when your employees and your colleagues are leaving and they're walking out those doors to their families and their friends and their school circles, their kids' circles. Right. That hopefully they're living out the fun, the diligence, the genuineness, the generosity. And it doesn't just stay within your doors.
Sure. So, I hope so too.
Yeah. So you talked about perspective shifts, about like when you're going through a trial, like that's when you're growing. Right. And a lot of what you learn, a lot of what you do now maybe have come from seasons of trial and hardship. Has that changed how you view things when they get hard now, of like knowing like you went through some really hard times at the very beginning of Cornerstone? And
that's the beauty of your 40s. I don't know how old you are, Ruben.
I'm getting there. I'm like knocking on 40's door.
Yeah, well, I'm smacking a little over the middle of my 40s. But you do gain a lot of confidence. I feel like there's just this, I feel like 40 to 55, you should be the smartest people in the room. You know, you've done some stupid stuff before and you still are with it. You know, you're not that 55-year-olds aren't with it, but you know what I mean? Is you've got that, you somewhat tech savvy, you can operate a computer and a phone with some degree, you know, so I just feel like that's a sweet spot of.
It's a good perspective.
Yeah. Like I've learned a lot, and I have a lot of confidence at that point, you know, of how things are going to be okay. Yeah. Even when hard things happen, you have your feet kind of grounded.
There's less freakouts. Yeah. I mean, they still exist.
I agree with that, but yeah. Compared to what I was.
I was going to say, in comparison, it's all relative.
Yeah.
I have mine too.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree with that. Basically what I heard you say is I'm about to enter my prime.
You are.
Which I love that.
Yeah. It's
so
coming.
I'm best Ruben is about to take place.
That's right.
So,
I love it.
That's so good. But I do agree with you about the trials and
for sure.
the perspective about when you enter those. That's an interesting thing about being, you know, a leader in my situation here at Clear Rock, and agents who are coming who haven't done as many deals. Yeah. Right. They may be newer to the industry and they're coming just in like hair on fire. Oh yeah. This thing just happened, and there's a couple things to this, but one of them would be like, no, I've been there. Yeah. Right. And I've lived. You actually live on the other side of this trial.
Oh, sure.
But ultimately everything usually works out okay. Right. And so that's one perspective. The second is it's easier to give advice to something that you're not in the middle of. And I've learned that.
Oh, true.
So like,
remove yourself from the situation. It's so much easier to solve other people's problems.
It is. So like I've got all the advice for everybody else, but my problems, I'm like, man, I'm struggling here.
Right.
Which I think that also leads, I'm kind of like going off on a rabbit trail here, but I do think that helps us. Like when I'm in a situation, I should reach out for somebody else's advice, somebody else to speak into it.
To see a different perspective when you're not right in the middle of it.
Right. Tell me your unbiased, you know, unaffected view of what's going on here. It's so important
to have that core group of people that you can ask that to, that you trust and they're going to not steer you wrong. But to get the outside perspective is huge.
Yeah. So when you're working with some of your employees or maybe even clients, I'm not sure how this works out, how it could play out, but you're in your 40s and you're in the sweet spot of having learned lessons.
Sure.
And you have a perspective now to bring to people. Do you bring that up when you're talking to somebody else that may have problems or may be in the middle of a really difficult season of like, hey, you're going to make it on the other side of this? I've been there. I've been in your shoes.
No, I think so. I think I try not to be too, certainly we've got lots to learn still, but it is nice to be in a group of like our audiologists, our core, providers at Cornerstone, to talk through patient care and to talk through life with these when their kids are a lot younger than my kids, and we like to share stories about what's going on and that kind of thing. And I probably pop off with advice more than I should, but it is more fun to solve someone else's problems than your own. Or if you've been there, boy moms. I see, I'm a big part of the football program at Lubbock Christian, even though I don't have a player, which is weird, but just seeing the freshman moms come in there, and their kids are freshmen and they look like fifth graders and they're on the high school football team, and you can see the fear in the kids' eyes and the mama's eyes. And you have to kind of say, hey, they're in a really good place. Like, I know you still see them as a fifth grade little boy, but they're about to get to a point in their life where they really need these men, and mama needs to kind of fade back. And it stinks for us, but it's really sweet to watch, and you're going to need to just kind of come over here. Let's, and it's hard to see when you're in there, but when you've been through that and then you look back and you see how far your kid grew and the things that they were starting to struggle with that you really couldn't help them with, then you're able to say, it's going to be okay. You're going to need to step over to the sideline.
What a lesson about just seeking out wisdom from people ahead of you.
For sure.
Whatever stage of life that we're in.
And I've had so many people do that for me. I mean, just Dusty and Amy Thompson, huge come to mind right now with all the things that they're going through, and just having, they're just mentors for us, and even watching them walk through this hard thing with Dusty is just, it's such a privilege to get to have friends and mentors and be that for someone else, and then have someone be that for you.
Right. And sometimes it's the same person that you're going back and forth on.
For
like,
sure.
I'll be it for you right now. You got me in 2 weeks.
You're not supposed to get sick. You're our people. Like,
I know. Right.
So,
the biggest theme on here, this is episode 40. We talked about that earlier.
So exciting.
And I love that number in general. And, one of the things that has been such a theme on the show is growing through the trial.
Oh yeah.
And just like if it was peachy all the time, just how boring life would be.
And how arrogant we would be.
Oh my goodness. Right? We'd know it all. We'd have it all.
Right.
And in the life lessons, there's humility in that, but there's just growth and perspective of like, I don't have it all together. Or even when I think I do, life throws a curveball.
Sure.
I have no control over it. That I think like, taking it back to Dusty for just a second, like he was on the show, kind of like somewhere smack dab in the middle, maybe even on the front end. And, you can hear somebody speak and have a certain perspective. Yeah. And then when they go through a trial or they're in a trial currently, it's like when they speak, it has a different power, has a different meaning. It speaks in a different way. And it like, man, I just want to celebrate sometimes hardship. Right. Like it's so hard to do that, especially in the moment, whether it's you or watching somebody else go through it, but also just a different perspective.
There's definitely fruit that comes from those things. One of the big things for me is reading Amy's Caring Bridge. Yeah. Just seeing her growth and her genuineness and honesty and brokenness through all of this, and knowing all the things that she deals with at the office, plus what she's handling at the house, and knowing her role in the hospital and being the wife of a patient. That's just heavy. It is. Yeah. So, but you're right. Just being able to see the good from all those things and know that, man, life's just a grind, and it always will be, you know? And so it's not unusual to have trials as part of the deal.
Right.
So
Yeah.
just looking for those good things and plugging the holes in the boat and growing. Just taking a step at a time, you know?
Yeah.
That's all we can do.
And being present. I think there's just
yeah.
so much about being present and grateful for where we're sitting right now, because
there's a lot of good.
Who knows what tomorrow or the next hour is going to bring.
We're not promised anything.
And just to be able to sit here and just have gratitude for what we have and where we're at. And so it's so good. All right. I'm going to shift a little bit, although we've kind of been talking about lessons, but is there a lesson that you've learned that you wish you would have known as like a young Julie?
Do I only have one? Can I only pick one of those?
Maybe a few. What you got?
Gosh, I wrote so many different ones down. I'm just going to refresh my memory on...
well, that's one thing that I've known about leaders is it's not just one, and there's like, if I could go back and talk to young Ruben again.
Oh, I know.
I could write him a book and just say, hey,
I know.
You should pay attention here.
Don't be a moron to your left or whatever. Yeah. So I think I keep harping on the core values, but I didn't establish those until way later in my business career, and our mission statement too. Just like what are we doing? What is the point of what we're doing? Who are we serving? What is the goal? Just that everyone knows what the purpose is behind what we're doing and what our core values are, because you have to make so many difficult decisions in business and you have to do it rather quickly. I like to really take my time making decisions. That's not always a good thing. Sometimes you don't have that kind of luxury. So when you have what you're doing, who you're serving, and what your core values are, you can make really quick decisions because, oh no, sorry, I already made that decision because it violates this. And we don't do that, you know?
That is, so what are some of those things that you have as like your vision or mission, purpose? Like,
so Cornerstone exists to provide exceptional care and solutions for better hearing to the people of West Texas. And this is accomplished through thorough and accurate diagnostics, the most current and appropriate hearing technology, and compassionate team members. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help people that have hearing loss. And we're going to make sure they have a really good diagnostic test. You know, you can go to Costco and get your hearing tested. You can test your hearing through your AirPods. There's a lot of ways to do that, but we're going to do it right. We're going to be thorough. We're going to remove earwax. We're going to max out our hearing tests. Some Lubbock Christian lingo there. And then we want to make sure that we're making a good recommendation for our patients. You know, that we have a lot of different options. Hearing aids are super cool. There's so much technology available. We've got some real creative programs in Cornerstone for, you know, making things more cost effective and always under warranty, so people don't have surprise expenses and that kind of thing. So we're going to make a good recommendation, and we're going to be really, really nice and sweet to our people. Our demographic that we get to serve is my favorite. Like, I grew up with I was very close to all my grandparents, and I've always just loved grandparents. So we get to serve the coolest demographic, and we talk about different phases of life. Man, they know a lot, you know, they've lived a lot. And it's a real sad phase of life. Their friends are passing away. They're not hearing well, you know, so it's just a real sweet time that we want to inspire our team to recognize where they are in their life and really be a light for them and love on them where they are and be part of their story and make it fun when they come see us, you know, that we want to give them a cookie and hear about their day and let them talk as long as they want to. We give cookies.
Oh man.
Coffee cookies.
To come visit you.
Yeah.
So sweets are my weakness.
Yeah.
So. Wow.
But so I would say the question was, how do you compare, you know, if you have kind of a bar of what the standard is, you know what we're doing and you know how we're doing it, then when an employee doesn't really work out because they're not genuine, like that's a deal breaker. And before, I probably would have dragged my feet in letting someone go, thinking, but they do this really well and they do this really well. But if they're not genuine, then they can't stay. So sometimes it's hard to make those really tough decisions. But when it's a core value violation, you just have to go with it.
I remember when we started Clear Rock, it was almost like you need to have a mission statement, a vision statement, and core values.
Yeah.
And I think if you're not careful, you can just like put a stamp on that of like,
Right.
okay, we did what we needed to do there. You know, we got our LLC set up.
Yeah.
We got our EIN number. We got our
Right.
mission, vision, and you know, it's just like a checkbox.
Chat GPT'd that and got it on the paper.
Yeah, no,
but it's not part of
exactly.
your soul.
Right.
It
right.
doesn't count.
I love the emphasis that you put on it.
Yeah.
Because the fact that you said we're measuring up like an employee and how they are in relation to the bar and the standard of our core values and mission statement, vision statement, that's huge.
Yeah,
Right?
and
That's,
if they align with those things and it's a performance issue, then let's talk about that.
Yep.
We can fix that. But if you don't align, then we can't fix that.
Yeah.
You know? So I think if you fit our core values and you're a good time, you can work here.
Yeah.
You know? And then we'll teach
great.
you something that you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. But you can't necessarily teach or correct character.
Right.
I mean, hopefully you can help.
Yes.
You can help the progression of it.
Right.
Be an influencer in that. But, and that's one thing about parenting I'm learning right now is
How old are your kids?
my oldest is 10. I got a 10, 9, 7, and 4.
Oh,
so
that's
we're
so
in,
fun.
we're in the early stages.
It's a glory days.
It is fun, challenging,
Yeah.
and fun. And,
Yeah.
but I can't change their character.
Right.
I can't change their heart, you know, hopefully influence, I'm going to influence as much as I can.
Right.
But it's just interesting. Like we can work with other things, but
Yeah.
their decisions have to be made internally
Right.
for them. Right. And so I think employees are very similar, you know, hopefully you have the influence on them, but can't necessarily just flip a switch and
Right.
okay, we got that. We
Yeah.
can move on now.
Right.
One thing that I heard over and over again, or a couple of times as you were reading your mission statement and or telling me a little bit about it, is you mentioned care at the front side of it and compassion on the back side of it.
Right.
And I love that you had like this sandwich of this is how we're doing it on both sides, but the practical what we're doing in the middle. I love that it began and ended
Yeah.
in a certain way.
Well, you can't remove any of those pieces because if you're really good at what you do, but you don't care about people, then it doesn't matter. But if you're really kind, but you suck at your job, like we have to fit hearing aids well.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to solve their problem.
Right.
So we have to be good at what we do.
Yeah.
But we also, all of those pieces have to be there. You have to care for them and you have to be good at your job.
Yeah. It's like this care and excellence kind of coupled together.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I love it. I think that there's a lot of importance in what you're talking about that I think we could all take with us. And a lot of that to me, what I'm hearing is make sure you're really clear on the why, like why or in how you're doing it.
Right.
And then ingrain those things in you so that decisions can be made very clearly and quickly. People who may or may not be a good fit are identified.
Right.
And then your people just understand, like your clients understand what they're getting when they come to you.
Sure.
Right. And why would I make that decision to go to Cornerstone versus doing an online test, you know, through my AirPods. So that's so good. Is there anything you're learning lately? Like what's going on right now that you're a learner. So what is it that's been new to you?
Yeah, I'm learning to communicate more effectively.
Okay.
In all areas of my life. I am also learning working on creating some metrics for my team that are both people and numbers. So we have kind of scorecards. We go through those during our team meeting. Are we hitting our goals? Are we helping enough people? And those kinds of things. But I'm really working on trying to create some other scorecards that also equal success that are people related, you know? So I don't have all the answers to that yet, but that's my current puzzle that I'm kind of working through.
All right. Well, that's just another great point though, of like people who are learning and growing generally find the problem
Yeah.
And then just like, okay, how
Well,
are
let's
we
fix
going to
that.
now like
Yeah.
tweak this and find all the components to make this
Right.
work well? So
Yeah.
even the fact that you've identified like what I want to do,
Right.
not sure yet the house,
Yeah.
but I think those are
Yep.
where you just learn to get creative and you learn some things new along the way.
The other thing too is a trick from Leaders Eat Last, trying to apply some of those principles. That wasn't even the book I picked, but I keep referencing it. Or to the people that are at the top have all the decision making power, but really very little of the information. You know, and your people on the front lines have all of the information, but none of the decision making power.
Right.
So just really having an open and honest communication path where you guys can tell me what's going on that's broken, because it's real easy to sit at the top and drop the axe
Sure.
when you're not on the front lines anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't seen a patient in a long time.
Okay.
I still am passionate about patient care and all of those things, but I'm not the one doing the things. So just making sure that even our people that are dealing with it, answering the phones, to pulling a patient back, to doing the hearing test, they're the ones with the information. So just trying to have our executive team being really good at listening, and our team up front to really feel like they can say what they need to say.
Yeah.
That it's a trusted space, and I want to know what the problems are, you know, so we can address them and fix them. So that's been really a neat process too.
Yeah. So you're working on communication personally.
Yeah.
And
Within the
as
team,
an organization,
for sure.
of how do we
Yep.
communicate better
Yes.
to make sure that you know all of the
Right.
what's good, what needs
Yeah.
to be worked on.
Right.
And,
This policy worked great 10 years ago, but
Yeah.
it's obsolete now,
right.
you know?
I can imagine now, like
Yeah.
in the world that we're in.
Right.
Things
Changes
are
all the
changing
time.
so fast.
Sure.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. Okay. Well, you did mention a book that
Yes.
you recommended, and I don't think I know
it's
this
so
one.
great.
So, Unreasonable Hospitality.
Yeah.
The remarkable power of giving people more than they expect. So,
Yes.
I'd love to know why you recommended this. Some of the things that you're getting out of it or have gotten out of it.
I love food. Ruben.
Okay.
I don't know if you love food.
I love
Food.
we could be great friends.
Right. So Will Guidara is a foodie. He owned restaurants in New York City, and so it's coming from a restaurant perspective.
Okay.
But just really, he was really passionate and still is. He has a great newsletter that goes out. You should subscribe to it. But he talks about just making people feel special and really going above and beyond. And of course, his is all restaurant based. But my favorite story that he told in there was that a couple came into his restaurant, very high end experience, you know, for dining in New York City. And their waiter came to them and said, getting to know them, you know, how has your week been? They were obviously tourists and had been there doing all the things in New York. And they said, it has been a great week. We've done all the New York things. The only thing we haven't done is got a hot dog, a street dog, you know? So he went ahead and served them, but the waiter they're all trained, you know, the frontline people are trained to offer an unreasonable hospitality experience. He ran out to the street cart, got a couple of hot dogs, brought them back in and plated them, and made them special and took them to them and cut them up, took them to them as an appetizer.
Okay.
Just some really didn't cost. It cost $5
Yep.
to do that, you
Yep.
know, but you made that person feel super special. Some other things they do is they bag up homemade granola and a coffee cup for the person's breakfast the next morning. Usually they're having dinner with them. So the next morning they're eating their granola and they're still talking about how
it's
amazing
carried
that
on
was,
from
you know?
Wow.
It's just some extra little things that are very thoughtful
Okay.
and
Okay.
that you might do for a guest that was staying with you or something that really kind of takes their experience to the next level. So I love that book. So good.
Okay.
All about the people.
I know. This theme is just keeps going.
I know.
I love the premise of what you're talking about with this book. I've not read it.
Yeah.
And I may just, as soon as we're done
Yeah,
here,
you need
get on
to.
Amazon
It's
and order me
excellent.
a copy.
Yeah.
Because I think as a business owner too, I'm a very experiential person. Like I
Yeah.
want people to have an experience that's just
Sure.
different.
Yeah.
And
Sets you
memorable.
apart. Yep.
And not for my glory, but for their adventure, for their
Yeah.
memory, for, you know, and so it just seems like that could be something right up
It really can set your
that thought
business
process.
apart. Yep.
And I know the places I walk into that have this kind of feel about them. And they may be priced a little higher. They may be a little bit different in how they offer their service.
Sure.
And yet I will probably continue to go back because of the way I felt and because of the care I received in the midst of it.
Right.
So, and opposite of that, I've been in places that look really cool,
Right.
taste really great, and yet
It's kind of cold in here.
something was off,
You know?
right?
Right, yeah.
And I may not be so excited to go back. So
Sure.
that unreasonable hospitality is huge everywhere we go.
I think hospitality is going to have to work its way into a core value at some point.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's good.
But that's a good word, you know, even in
It is.
relationships that are personal, that you want to be really hospitable to your people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, this is one that, I think I'll be talking about this to many people as soon as I get it read.
Yeah,
so
you got to go for it.
Thank
It's a good
you
one.
for
Sure.
sharing it. And
Yeah.
I hope many people listening will pick it up too and give it a listen and read.
I even messaged Will's team when I went to New York, and he personally gave me restaurant recommendations.
Of course he did.
Yeah. I mean, he
Right?
practices what he preaches. Yeah. So,
really cool.
His assistant
Man.
got back to me on LinkedIn and gave me the recommendations that he.
Oh, neat.
Isn't that cool?
That is really cool. Okay. Will
Guidara.
Guidara?
Yeah,
Okay.
Guidara.
All right. Perfect. Okay. Well, I've enjoyed today.
Me
I
too.
really
It was
have.
fun.
We'll conclude with this one question.
Okay.
And I'd love to hear it's always really neat because the very beginning of it, we hear a perspective and then kind of see how that unfolds, and then it gets tied back up into both. So it's always interesting to see the initial package and the end. And so love to conclude with the last question of if you could define leadership in a single sentence.
Yes, and I had to write it down. I studied it. I thought about it, and I'm not going to give myself an A on it yet.
Okay,
but I'm chipping
just
away. Just
work
at it.
in progress.
I'm working it.
That's great.
Right. Leadership is the art of creating vision and structure while serving others with integrity, empowering them to thrive, and making them feel valued in the process.
Okay. Say the first. You can actually reread the whole thing.
Leadership is the art of creating vision and structure while serving others with integrity, empowering them to thrive, and making them feel valued in the process.
Why did you use the word art?
Well, maybe because I'm not very good at art. But it's not just like a 1 + 1 = 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very complicated to communicate your vision and provide structure. So we want to have this vision of what we're doing, but here's how we're going to do it. And the playbook,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Well,
It's really hard.
It's a tough question for me to ask, to try to wrap it all up into a single sentence, because even when Leanne and I were on the podcast together talking about the complexities of some of these words,
Sure.
and there's really not a true definition, culture, leadership, like
Right.
they're very big, very vague,
Very broad.
Yeah. And, so I love asking it because it gets so many different perspectives of the same word.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And to hear other people's definition is inspiring.
It is.
Well, it can be totally different.
Yep. Well, what you did there, and this is what you've kind of done the whole time, like you mixed two very different things. I feel like you like the structure piece of it mixed with the people, authentic care,
Right.
and compassion, which is very abstract and subjective, right? So
Sure.
you've got this objective part of
Right.
it and the subjective part, and you've like created an art in bringing those two pieces together. And this you've got the canvas you're working on, which is kind of your structure, and you've got hard edges you can't
That's
go beyond.
the part that comes much easiher for me.
Okay.
Is creating the structure.
It is,
This
okay.
is what we're doing. But then I have 0 relational skills in my top 5 strengths.
Wow, really?
None.
I wouldn't have taken. Okay,
I'm very handicapped.
okay.
So,
okay, well,
just
you do
that
it well.
know that I know better.
Yeah.
You know, this is what I gravitate to, but the relational part of it, gosh, you can't do it without people. Who wants
Yeah.
a transactional business
Right.
with no heart?
Right.
You know?
So when you read a book like this, Unreasonable Hospitality, is it challenging to you? Like, as the relational piece isn't as high in your strengths?
I don't know. I loved it so
Yeah.
much. It was my favorite book I've ever read. I read all
That's
the
intriguing
time.
to
I know.
me. That really is, because
Yeah.
you seem passionate about it too.
I
And so
I love, like, if you're in my inner circle, I love you. I don't have a lot of people that are tight with me, but the ones that are my people, man, I will, whatever you need, we got it. We'll
That's
figure it
awesome.
out. So,
Okay.
because I don't have, now, if you're not in there,
Tough. So good luck out there.
That's a hole in my boat.
Yeah.
Like, I'm working on being kinder to
Yeah,
those people.
but you're learning and you're
Yeah,
growing in it.
you
And
know,
that's,
so,
again,
but
we're
yeah.
going back to those, the leaks exist.
Yeah,
and so
I do
we're
know
going to
those
go,
exist.
we're going to read, and we're going to have Leanne's, and we're going to have the people in your life who help you with it. But, yeah, so taking where I was going with that is taking your structure and even the canvas that you're working on, and then giving yourself the freedom to use whatever medium you want. So whether that's paints or
that's the fun part,
or dry erase, whatever
Creativity.
colors, you just doing whatever you want inside of it and making it beautiful.
I noticed one of the things, I think it was Leanne's podcast that you guys were just talking about, just experiment. That's what's really fun about small business is, you know what we could do, guys?
And
there's no boundaries. You can just do stuff. And if it's a train wreck, then you just pivot.
Yep.
But how cool when when you first start out, it's harder to do those things. But the longer you're in business, the more fun it is to try new ideas and new things.
And again, it just comes down to the structure piece, like knowing the boundaries.
Right.
Knowing your core values and your vision. And this is a great new idea that we've got.
Right.
How does it measure up to what the standard is?
For sure.
And then if it's okay, it's like, go for it.
Right.
Let's give it a whirl. And it may be a total train wreck, like you said, but we're going to learn. We're going to learn something through it, and it may be amazing. Right. And we may have something new come out of this. So, yeah. Well, I'm really encouraged by you, by the way that you lead Cornerstone. I love the fun and creativity that you have, and also I love the concrete things that you lay out, these are our core values. This is what we're going to live by. So I would love to say that's so super common with everybody I talk to, and yet unfortunately don't hear that a lot.
Sure.
And so it's something to be just applauded of.
Oh, thanks.
Keep moving in that direction.
Thank you.
Keep encouraging other business leaders and other leaders in general to just know why they're doing it.
Right.
And having the guardrails for what they should and shouldn't do and who they bring on. And so just keep encouraging and inspiring in that way.
Thanks,
I'm
Ruben.
encouraged by this.
Thanks
I want to
so
go
much.
listen back and dive into the book and,
Yeah.
and put into practice a lot of what you said.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it.
Well, thank
Thanks
you
for
for your
having me.
time today.
Yeah,
I
it was
know
really
it's a
fun. I
lot
enjoyed
for
it.
business leaders to
That's
come
okay.
out and be a part of something like this,
It
but
was really good
just
for me.
know you're going to encourage a lot of people.
Thanks.
So, all right. Well,
Okay.
thanks again for coming.
Sure.